Good afternoon. My name is Rachel Stewart, and this is my signature project regarding increasing standardized test scores through math fluency. So, at Fairhope Middle School, our mission is to empower bold and honorable lifelong learners who strive for excellence, serve others, and find success. We hope to do this by giving our students the best education and environment to do that in. A little bit of background information. I focused my signature project on math fluency due to the deficits that middle school students were having when they came into middle school. We originally, when I started this signature project, we used StewartR as our database. Our data is now collected from IXL fall, winter, and spring benchmarks. We also use data from 6th grade ACAP to place them into math intervention classes. And we use behavior as well as attendance to determine their lack of math fluency and whether to place them in math intervention or regular versus accelerated classes. This was a school-wide initiative that we put into place in order to raise the math fluency of all students, as well as we did the same thing for the English aspect of it as well. I placed my main focus on my English language learners in my classroom. We had a large influx of English language learners come in this year, and I wanted to make sure that they received the best opportunity. Our background literature here. I had several articles regarding how to raise your standardized scores in math, and all of them focused on math fluency being a huge part of that foundational start. If students didn't have the math fluency necessary for on-grade level work, they were not going to get on grade level. A lot of them said repetition was key to building those math fluency facts and things like that, but as well as hitting those higher level applications with not overusing their brain to focus on the math fluency. Before we kind of put this project into place, we took some baseline data for our students in the fall of 2025. These were our levels based on IXL Diagnostic, which is our new program that we started and initiated this year. 43% of our 7th graders were far below grade level based on IXL. 29% were just below grade level. 24% were on grade level, and 4% were above grade level. So in looking at this data, it's very concerning because over half of our students are far below or below grade level. So that's a lot of work that we have to do in building their math fluency to make them stronger math learners. My action plan was, of course, to start with the previous year's data of their ACAP. That way we can place them into intervention classes if necessary, but then also based on their fall IXL benchmark, do we need to reevaluate and maybe place some new students in to intervention classes? Intervention classes play a big part in increasing our lower level students' math fluency and building those math skills that they need to be successful. We collected our fall 2025 IXL benchmark data that you just saw, compared that with the 6th grade ACAP scores to see how IXL data was comparing to their previous ACAP scores. IXL trainers and information told us that there was a 93% correlation rate between IXL benchmarking and your ACAP scores. So we kind of wanted to start looking at that right away. We incorporated weekly IXL practice for math and English in every homeroom classroom, which is our academic opportunity time. So every teacher got to work with students in practicing these skills. We scheduled quarterly benchmark testing in classrooms. So that was in their math class. That way the validity of the test stayed safe. We met quarterly with 7th grade assistant principal, our curriculum leader, and our 7th grade math teachers to analyze that data and see how iExcel was working and see how the kids were growing. We tracked it weekly with the kids as well so that they could see how they were growing and where their weaknesses and their strengths were to focus better on those skills. And then we compared the data at the end of the year and scheduled classes accordingly, so that some kids maybe moved out of intervention, some kids we saw needed to go into intervention. Just depends on where that data led us. Time-wise, this took about a year to implement. Now, this was our first year doing this, so we definitely learned we needed to make some tweaks here and there throughout the year. But for the most part, in the summer, we created the intervention classes. In August, we had our fall benchmark very, very quickly, first week of school. And prior to that, kind of the week before school starts, we had a faculty meeting to explain how this new iExcel diagnostic would work, because every teacher was going to be involved in the behind the scenes of that diagnostic for these students. Every week, which is where all the teachers come into play, one day per week, they completed at least 15 minutes of iExcel recommended skills based per student. So these are individualized, personalized skills for that student in their weaknesses. And those students are able to see their weekly growth with those scores. It's immediate. It's right there when they're done. And then August, December, and April, we had iExcel benchmark tests, the diagnostic test that they did again. And we shared that quarterly growth not only with students, we shared it with faculty and in our PLC, our professional learning community groups as well. As we implemented, as I said, some things changed. Our county decided to step away from STAR, and we started using iExcel diagnostic testing. I think this was a better choice than STAR. I think it gives us more opportunities to explain things to students and to personalize for students. And according to iExcel, it has a better correlation with our ACAP testing. iExcel is also more familiar to students. They were already using it on a regular basis for extra practice on their skills. Their math fluency was building based on the skills in iExcel. There's better analytics for teachers to share with students and with families. Easier for teachers to share with parents where their child is specifically struggling and what types of math fluency skills they could work on. And we also had weekly progress available for students who need that very immediate feedback in this real-time world. Our students were given the iExcel benchmark during class to, again, ensure the validity of the test. This allowed math teachers to control the environment. No calculators. They could have scratch paper, pencils, not helping each other. That way, math teachers knew more what it looked like than a history teacher is going to know. Students worked one day per week in academic opportunity on their personalized recommended skills. This is the key part to the entire plan, is that iExcel individualized and personalized these skills for these students. Not every student was working on the exact same thing, and they're all on different levels. So while one student might be in geometry, 8th grade level, one student might be working in measurement, 4th grade level. Either way, they're able to take those weaknesses in those math fluency skills and build them up. And teachers have minimal work with maximum results because of this. It is very simple because iExcel does all of the background work. So they personalize, they individualize, they set it up for the kids. All the kids have to do is log in. Teacher can just simply watch from their computer or circulate around the room to oversee everything. But it's very minimal work for the teachers as far as iExcel goes. In the classroom, the teachers are doing more of the focus on those skills that they know about. They are also discussing with the intervention teachers as to what they are working on as well. So in the classroom instruction, your math fluency ideas increase because you are able to pinpoint certain areas that kids are weakest in and focus on that with your instruction inside the classroom. So again, you're doing less work because iExcel is telling you, hey, your students are struggling on this, but you're getting maximum results because you as a teacher can go in and say, okay, these are the things I need to incorporate into my lesson today to make sure we get that math fluency behind the concepts that I still need to teach today. Our post-project data is phenomenal. Phenomenal. It looks amazing. So in our far below here, we've dropped down from 43% to 31%. In our below, we dropped from 29% to 21%. We grew our on grade level students and our above grade level students phenomenally. In my full year classes, just mine personally, this was for the whole school. This one's mine personally. You can see that my students went up in math 164 points on average. That's almost 2 grade levels. That's like a grade level and a half according to IXL. So that is phenomenal growth that they're showing. We do not know their ACAP scores yet. Once we have those, we'll be able to correlate that a little bit better over the summer here. But students grew more than 1 grade level. Many of my ELL students grew up to 4 grade levels, which is phenomenal for them. Like I said, we had 12% move up from far below, 8% moved up from below, 10% more hit on grade level, and 11% moved up to above grade level. So this constant tracking and daily, weekly, monthly looking at this and working on this, hitting these skills and working through these skills, that repetition that I mentioned previously with my literature is proving that it's working for these students. They need more repetition, and we have to incorporate that, not only in our daily, weekly, or our weekly work, but in our daily work, in our instruction. Teachers have to incorporate that. Again, according to IXL, there's a 93% correlation rate, so we're hoping to hear about this once our scores come in for everyone. Students in our intervention classes saw more growth due to being at lower grade levels to start with, but the weekly growth that they saw boosted their effort in class. So we saw more participation in class from students that previously would have kind of just sat to the back of class and moved along. My individual ELL students that I mentioned showed up to 4 grade levels of growth, which is huge for their math language for the ELL. And being able to see and interpret the weekly and quarterly growth for students provided more effort on their part. It was like playing a video game. They were leveling up every single time they grew those numbers. They were excited to do it again because they were leveling up essentially. Up next, our goal, obviously, first things first, compare those IXL benchmark scores to ACAP. How much validity is there to that 93% correlation rate? And how does that work for our students? How does that look for our students? How can we share that with parents? That's going to be our big thing. Evaluate the process during the year. Review teacher suggestions to make weekly work more efficient. I think we kind of did that as the year went on. We tweaked a few things as how teachers figured out to watch students better and things like that. But we also want to research some more IXL progress with the Math Act ideas, with kind of like the Literacy Act hit us in 3rd grade. We want the Math Act that we know is coming to correlate with this as well. And how can we match our IXL progress with that idea there? Here are my references, and thank you for listening.